Welcome everyone. My name is Nevin and I'm a yoga, Qigong and mindfulness teacher. I know some of the faces, names at least are familiar, but those of you who are new, so in this session we are doing a little bit of movement, a little bit of meditation. Sometimes one is first and sometimes the other. Movements are mostly Qigong based. Meditation is mostly mindfulness based, but variations of, especially on the meditation side, I like to play. So for the last week, actually, maybe I'll just remind those of you who weren't here or where we are, because we keep doing different things in this class. So last week we started looking into the season of like spring season. As we all know, things are changing. And in Qigong or traditional Chinese medicine, this time of the year is considered as wood element. And I don't really think of it as like the wood, like when you think of like, what does even like wood mean? Don't go there, but just consider it as like spring energy, which is really kind of a like good time for growth and change, and like things are moving up, like sprouting, as you can tell around. And this time is considered as a like a good time to start new things. So with that spirit, we started going through one set that's called Shibashi, 18 set of movements. It's a combination of almost like Tai Chi Qigong, but it's mostly considered as Qigong. And we did first 4 of them, and today we will continue with them. But I would like to first today do the meditation part and do it almost like more like an embedded awareness or centering type of a meditation, or just like don't even think about meditation, especially if you are not familiar with meditation and if you think like, oh, this is tough and like my mind never stops or so don't go there either. So just like have a sense of exploration and curiosity. Beginner's mind, again, great time to really cultivate some beginner's mind given the energies of the season. So one other element of this wood, like physically you can see things are changing in nature. Emotionally also, there are certain things that can be done for the mental emotional side of our being, let's say, because Qigong is always like body, mind together. So it's a holistic approach. It's a preventive medicine in a way. So in terms of the emotional aspect, this time of the year, or the wood element, is related to the emotion of anger and its variations, including resentment, or old grudges, we all have them, or quick frustrations, or little annoyances. Sometimes we have many of them. I think those are kind of relevant for many of us. And a lot of times these things like build over a time and they turn into some form of like a habit. And they affect our relationships, our work life, and many other things. So we will work with those today. And the connection in terms of the elemental perspective of the traditional Chinese medicine actually is around the, or maybe related to also, or kind of, that's how things are supposed to work in this methodology, let's say. The 2 internal organs, it's liver on our right side and gallbladder, are the internal organs related to this time of the year. So they kind of manage when this anger happens in the body. And liver is one of the very important organs, and it's really responsible from detoxing a lot of things, materials in the body. And because of that also, this time of the year is good for spring detox. Many people are doing some kind of detox by drinking just like green juice or green some stuff. So green is good. And many other ways of doing this is also there. But we're going to kind of just look into the emotional aspect in a way, like, I don't know, it's kind of maybe a big claim, but like a emotional detox in a way, or some form of spring cleaning. So without taking it too seriously, but just keep that as an idea. And anger itself as an emotion, as you know, can be very strong. And when I say like managing anger, I'm not trying to say like get rid of your anger and anger is bad. It is a very valid and relevant emotion we will have all the time. But my point, or the way I'm trying to approach it, is actually how do we maybe act wisely, being aware of that emotional situation, even if we are angry, because a lot of times when we act out of anger, we end up regretting or feeling like, oh, I just exaggerated, or this was too much, or so, like when it passes though. But while it's active, it's like the spring energy, it's really spiraling, moving upward. And they say because of that, for example, you may have some headaches at this time of the year because the energy is very active. It tends to rise up. So like vortex headaches, or maybe like something around your necks or shoulder could be areas that may be affected when this energy rises upward, almost like fires up. And I've heard a teacher recently saying, like, when from the neuroscience perspective, they talk about this amygdala hijacking, you know, when we are really in the grasp of the anger itself. And then he says, your prefrontal cortex is not working. This means we all become like stupid when we are angry and irritated. And he even claims, I haven't checked this, but he even claims that like research shows that we lose 20% of our IQ intelligence. So the things that we do are not always like good things or great things that we do, and we may end up sometimes really regretting afterwards. And there are ways of working with this, let's say, monitoring these or self-regulating, let's say, shifting our mood when these kind of emotions appear. Mindfulness is definitely like a big one that can be a way to work with. And there are also other ways, many kind of techniques related to the body, working with the body. And what we will do today is also going to be about the body. But before we move on to that one, I just want to tell you a story that my teacher, Jack Cornfield, likes to talk. So he says there was this young army lieutenant. He was famous with his anger. And one day his superior officers ordered him to go for a like 8-week mindfulness training course. And he reluctantly kind of accepted because he thought he was doing okay and all of his anger was the right thing to do at the right time. People were kind of misunderstanding him, which tends to happen to me sometimes. I don't know if that resonates with you. So this guy, at around like the 6th week of his training, he went to a grocery store one day around lunchtime, and he was kind of hungry. So he got some sandwich or something, and he went into the checkout line, and he was a bit tired and kind of hungry and angry, maybe. And then there were people in front of him, and he was just like expecting things to move fast, but it wasn't happening. And he noticed his irritation kind of growing inside. And then there were a few people moving very slowly. And then at the end, like when there were just like 2 people left in front of him, there was this old lady who came with a little baby or a toddler in front. And then the old lady gave the toddler to the cashier. And then they started to just like, oh, my dear, oh, so great to see you. And then they were just like taking their time, thought this army officer. And then he noticed that he was really getting angry, but then he could also see what the woman was like, how the woman was connecting with the baby. And then he kind of brought his attention to the body and then kind of told him like, take it easy, take it easy. Maybe that was kind of like the first thing that came into his mind. And then at the end, now it was his turn. And then he was a little bit calmer this time. And then he said to the cashier, oh, that was a cute kid that you were holding. And then the cashier said, Oh, he's my boy. You see, my husband was in the military. He was killed in a combat last year. So now I have to work full time. And my mom brings my boy once a day so I can see him. So that was a big lesson, let's say, for this army officer, army lieutenant guy. And so I would just invite you to kind of take a moment to feel this sense of, a lot of times when we act out of anger, we are believing in something and then we think we are right, which may not be always true. So I would just invite you to consider that, and then I'm going to kind of leave it there. And then let's just now do almost like a centering or kind of embodiment feeling of how maybe these feelings show up in our life. We'll do maybe, I don't know, 5-6 minutes or so of this, and then we'll move on to the moment part. We'll pick up where we left last week, and then introduce maybe 4 more other modes in this Shibashi practice, the set practice that we started on the movement side. So right now, just take a moment to, as we're kind of almost like transitioning into this, more like checking in with our own body. Feel yourself just transitioning. And you can close your eyes if it feels right. You don't have to, but just take a moment, this sense of, oh, we're shifting, or kind of we're going to do something different. Just have a sense of openness to that. And gradually, once you feel a little bit more kind of settled here, maybe feeling the bottoms of your feet, your buttocks, bring into mind a recent occasion where you felt angry or mad at someone, or it could be very simple annoyance as well. Don't go like to the biggest thing, but stay at the kind of moderate intensity. So just bring into mind an event that happened recently. You may almost like replay the video, let's say. Just find something. It doesn't have to be big. And if nothing comes, it's great. Don't worry about it. Just like follow along. So as you bring into mind this event that has happened, just notice how you are feeling in your body. Notice if there's any change in your posture, for example. Notice if there is any sense of tightness, like chest, throat, face, shoulders, a sense of maybe leaning forward, a sense of maybe clenching in your belly, guts, or a sense of like, oh, anything like that. A sense of like I am right, you are wrong. It's kind of deep, let's say, feeling. And how that kind of manifests in your body. And notice, like, to invoke these bodily sensations, we haven't done anything. It comes automatically when we kind of bring into mind that mind state or that kind of emotion. Just maybe like a simple annoyance, it kind of triggers immediately. So as we are practicing mindfulness, we are trying to almost like create space or like a gap between the trigger, the stimulus, the trigger that's kind of kicking us, triggering us, and then our response. Instead of reacting automatically, we're just taking a moment to pause, maybe just like 1 second. But here we're going to do a bit extended, maybe like 3 minutes or so. So as you become aware of like these sensations in the body, we start with awareness. Sometimes this practice is called ABC of centering. So just becoming aware of these physical sensations in the body. Wherever you are feeling, however you are feeling, it doesn't matter. It's all something has changed. That's kind of awareness of that. And can you now become aware of your feet on the ground? And then again, your buttocks, however you are sitting. And the posture itself. You can even open your eyes if they were closed. Look around. Even like purposefully maybe have a peripheral gaze, not just looking at the screen, but look around your room. And now take the attention to the breath. And allow the breath. This can be just like 1 breath or 3 breaths. We're doing a bit longer version, but if you were to do this in like 1 minute or 30 seconds, you're going to be maybe just taking 1 breath. But here we're going to be doing maybe like 3 breaths. Just take 3 nice intentional breaths where you are aware of the in breath and then the out breath. Feel the breath happening like in the body. It's almost like in your center as we are in a way cultivating this sense of centering ourselves, bringing ourselves to a bit more kind of wiser point. And as you become aware of the breath, so B is related to the breath and also a sense of balance. Can you now just check your posture to make sure that you are balanced, right to left, front and back? And can you also just relax the back body a little bit or have it kind of straight, but relaxed in a way. So let the shoulders almost like drop down from the ears. Becoming aware of the body, posture, front body relaxed. Relax the belly. And if you're not sure if your belly is relaxed or not, maybe just squeeze it and then relax again. And C is just like as a sense of general centering, becoming aware of all of these kind of additional input points, in addition to just like thinking maybe your head, your mind, but there are all these other things which are real and which are kind of exactly happening right now. We checked the sensations right under the feet or any other sensations around the body. Just relax the shoulders down a little bit and brought ourselves into a place of balance. And C can also be sometimes interpreted as like care, really attending, caring for our well-being or caring to this moment. Like whatever it is, instead of jumping into the story and almost like boiling ourselves further down, up, spiraling up, remember? Just relaxing, arriving, sensing this presence. And as we are shifting out of this practice, just notice how you are feeling right now. Notice if there is any sense of shift, any sense of maybe just things cooling down a little bit. Maybe not. It's fine to just notice wherever you are. So from here, now we're going to go for the movement side, moving into the Qigong practice. I'm just going to stand up. Feel free to stay seated on your chair as well. And also, when I move, my camera gets a bit blurry, but it just takes a moment to stabilize. So just keep that in mind. So I'm moving back. So we're going to have about like 40 minutes or so of movement practice. And those of you who are familiar with Qigong, most of it can be done standing, but sitting or even lying down is always available. So there's no requirement to have this kind of perfect alignment and other things like in yoga. These are very important, but in Qigong is relatively kind of easier. But one key thing about the posture itself is it's more or less like the same basic holding posture, which is sometimes that's the only posture people would practice. Bring your feet parallel to each other. The space between them is so much that they're almost like shoulder width apart. Ankles or shoulders. And you can adjust this a little bit. Sometimes they're even closer towards each other or sometimes wider. So just make sure that you are comfortable. I try to bring my feet really parallel to each other. This means outer edges are parallel. Sometimes it may feel a little bit like pigeon toe, tiny bit, but for any reason, if this doesn't feel right for your knees, feel free to just open them a little bit, but don't turn them like this, you know? So just keep this idea of keeping them parallel. Knees are unlocked. There's a little bit of a bend always, and this level of bend is up to you. It can be just tiny bit because we're trying to bring the pelvis into kind of neutral pelvis position. So this is not neutral, this is not neutral. But when I have this position somewhere in between, so tailbone is slightly tucked under, so going really almost like straight down instead of lifting up, which is a little bit more, this is more like our normal position, I would say. But this is a little bit more tucked under. So feel your spine really elongated, neck long. Chin is almost like parallel to the ground, but at the same time, there is almost like this something like a string attached to the top of your head, or almost like your head is suspended. Your arms are on your side. Your hands can be at the front. You can imagine there is almost like something underneath your arm, so there is space in your armpits. And that's the beginning position for a lot of Qigong practices. And today, as we are going to do this set, we will start with a little bit of warm-ups before we do the set. The set is relatively easy, doable by all, and feel free to adjust for anything that I guide. Actually, always adjust. Make sure that your knees are comfortable. The level of bend is up to you. So just beginning for a few simple warm-ups. Start to take your arms, just the shoulder joint, you can see, is slowly warming up. You can go very slow or faster, but the idea is to coordinate this with the breath. Inhaling, lifting, exhaling, releasing. Now reverse, bring it from back to the front. This may feel a bit weird. A lot of times we just do the one way. Just do 3 of those. And we're going to change now. Coming into the spine from the shoulder joints, opening the arms out to the side. And when you exhale, bring the elbows to touch. Inhale, open. Exhale, push the elbows together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, open the arms. Just reach out towards the side and shake your hands as we are kind of just like waking up, everything becoming alive. And now reach forward with the hands again, just shaking, shaking, shaking. And then reach towards the sky with the hands. You can probably not see, but my hands are just reaching up. And then slowly turn the palms up towards the sky and then just bring them down. Bring the hands in front of the belly. This is the area that's called like lower dantian. You can call it, you can think of it as like energy center or like the batteries of the body. And imagine now, the points between the palms are important to keep in mind. Imagine as if like you have some kind of like a ball of energy between your hands. You can kind of just like, there's always some imagery happening in Qigong. For some people it works nicely, some people hate it. So just check wherever you are in the spectrum. I'm kind of in between, and because over time, as my practice developed, I'm able to feel that energy quite a bit. But at the beginning, I wasn't really feeling it. So wherever you are is fine. The more you practice, the better this energy awareness kind of really increases. So as we become aware of now this kind of energy, maybe this posture, become aware of the breath. And take a moment to bring into mind that we are situated in between the earth and the sky. And the human body itself is almost like a manifestation of these so-called yin and yang energies. One is very active, one is relatively slow. And a lot of times we have a lot of activity, a lot of yang energy, but yin energy is not nourished. So this practice is going to be a combination of almost like harmonizing yin and yang. And this is one of the aims of this actually Shibashi did this practice that we're learning, let's say, or exploring together. So as we begin, the first one is harmonizing Qi, when you lift the hands and then releasing them down. And your knees can slightly bend if you want to. Feel as much as possible, shoulders are really relaxed. And when you lift your hands, the level they're coming is just like about the shoulder or like around the chest. Your hands are extremely relaxed. Even though your arms are moving, you're not really kind of almost like putting any effort. They are just lifting and releasing with a sense of peace and with a sense of real ease. Inhaling and exhaling. Do that one more time, and we're going to move to the second one. This one is called opening the chest, inhaling. So inhale gets longer when you open the hands all the way out. And when you exhale, bring the hands towards the center and then down. Those of you who want to have a little bit more action, kind of leg strength building, you can have maybe like a sinking down with the knees. You don't have to. Inhaling and exhaling. And when if you want to do the knees bent version, make sure that you are sliding the hips back like this instead of like leaning forward or having too much bend in the knees. That's not the idea. You can take your hips back as much as possible. Just slide so that you're not putting too much pressure on the knees. Let's do 2 more times. Exhale. So those of you who attended this session last week will remember. So we're just doing the first 4, which we did last week. And release. And then the next one is separating the clouds. Big circles through the almost like center line, almost like spiraling circle. And the idea here is separating the clouds, creating space for the sun. And when we are doing this through the midline or through the kind of the heart space, we're almost like clearing up space. And this is like one of the practices that is recommended for this time of the year. We are doing this internal cleaning, let's say, or internal martial arts. These things are just so much related to like slowly changing things inside. It's not just like physical body, but on the emotional, mental, emotional side. We know what kind of needs to be done, but a lot of times we don't have the energy or we feel lazy. So we're trying to bring everything kind of in a harmony. And this is like separating the clouds or parting the clouds is one of them. And we will slowly, let's do one more, bring this into an end. And now open your arms out to the sides and then turn the palms up towards the sky. Become aware of, again, the points in your palms. And those of you, I can remind, the points that we are targeting, when you fold your fingers like that, it's the point where the middle finger touches. That's the point we're kind of playing with. And that's an important point in acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine. And we're kind of building the energy through that point and then circulating it all around the body. And now open your feet a little bit wider. And in this one, this is rainbow dance, one name. It's also called, painting a rainbow, dancing with a rainbow. So there are kind of different names. We're going to be moving the arms. This is good for the shoulder related things. And there are different ways to do it. You can be just like your arms maybe like this and you're just moving like that. That's like one way. Just side to side. The other ways could be, if you want to go a bit more active and it becomes almost like a cardio, I would say, you can bring your hand, see this point in your palm is getting connected with the top of the head. Imagine you're just kind of having a momentary connection there and shifting your weight to one leg. And this hand can be reaching out to the side or maybe coming closer. So don't worry about the alignment. Don't worry about like, oh, am I doing this wrong? Or so this is not the right attitude in Qigong. You are always doing like the perfect one. As long as you are really taking good care of yourself and taking care of your knees especially. So moving side to side like that. And really have the attention in your palms. And notice we're moving slowly. This weight shift is also optional. You may be doing this just like in the middle. Maybe your knees are not feeling comfortable. No, you don't want to go there. Please be respectful, really honor the guidance that's coming from your own body. And you can also do this very slowly. For example, if you want to do this weight shift, very, very slowly, and feel the weight shifting to this leg almost like 70%, 80%, 90%, or even so much so that you can even like lift that foot. And then moving to the other side. These are all points that can increase intensity. I'm just bringing it up because some people would like to go for like a real workout, you know? But if you're not there, don't go there. There's no need to put extra pressure. Maybe you're doing just like a simpler version or gentler version, and being gentle towards ourselves is always a good thing to do. Gentle and kind. So do a couple of more like that, moving side to side. Let's do one more, and then we will change. Each side. And after we complete, slowly just take a moment to feel your hands, relax the shoulders down. Shoulders are always relaxed, just remember that. And a lot of times the movement, even though we're moving the arms or legs or something, have it as if like the whole body moving as like one unit. So for this one, this is sometimes called back swinging monkey, cycling the arms rolling in a fixed stance. So there are like different translations, so whichever one. But it's something related to monkey. There are variations of this move too. But I'm just gonna turn sideways. So the position is still kind of tailbone down. So finding that chest relatively open. And gradually, you're gonna push one hand to the front while the other hand will go back. And this extension of going back, for some people, it will be just like this. And then they're gonna move it back because we're gonna be drawing that, the hand that was pushing to the front, it's gonna go back. So that's one way of doing. And other ways, you can take your arm maybe bigger backward. Again, make sure that this feels comfortable for your arms, for your shoulders. And in the maybe last option, you were going all the way back and then pushing the hand. The other hand that was first facing front, kind of fingers flexed, goes under or turns, palm turns towards the sky, and then goes back, makes a circle. And then once this hand starts to move at the front, this hand starts to go back. So just make sure that the version that you choose is workable, is doable, and feels kind of the right thing to do. So I'm just gonna do maybe this first option. Let's say I'm not gonna take my arm all the way. Just feel the hands changing. This is also good for the liver because liver is on the right side, and things we do with kind of obliques when we work with this middle part of the body affect the liver positively, or they kind of help to balance or help to harmonize the liver energy. So just moving side to side. Back swinging monkey, repulsive monkey, and some other monkey versions to call. But basically it's a move where we move the oblique area, middle part of the torso. So all of the internal organs are actually affected. And sometimes I like to add a little bit of almost like inner squeeze when I do this. So the inner spinal stabilizers, even like obliques, the diagonal muscles are really influenced. So just like a gentle squeeze, tiny squeeze. It's not like hardcore, but just like a little bit of like aware as we're moving, noticing, and just becoming aware. And let's do that a few more times. So this is the fifth one, the monkey. 2 more. Everything is coordinated with the breath. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but inhaling, exhaling. So your pace may be very different from mine. If you want to go slower, please do so. Or if you want to go faster, you can do that too. But have a sense of rhythm to your breath too. So about maybe a count of 4, 5. So don't go like just like shallow breathing, but go a little bit deeper breathing. And as we transition now, just take a moment to bring both hands on your sides. Just notice. Even like close your eyes for a moment and feel all this kind of shoulder joint area, maybe obliques. You may be feeling certain things. And now we're going to change into something that's called rowing a boat, paddle a boat, rowing a boat in the middle of the lake. So there are these options, but the idea is rowing. And in this one, arms reach, make a big circle, and then imagine your knees are going to be bending and hips are sliding back. You're almost like really rowing a boat. And you do that very slowly. So that becomes like things start to change. Inhaling and then exhaling, rowing the boat. And you can actually, maybe if you don't want to go for these deeper bends, it's okay to do that, but engage your arms a little bit when you are rowing them. If you have practiced any rowing before, it can be quite actually a lot of work for the arms. So you can just have a little bit of squeeze again for the arm muscles. Inhaling, exhaling if you want to go there. In this set, the movements are simple. So you will, after you do these a few times, you're going to kind of get used to, and you start to kind of memorize, okay, oh, so that's what we did. And the intensity can be adjusted, but the other ones that we're going to be kind of moving, some of them are almost a bit like cardio, I would say, as we have a little bit more engagement, a little bit more activation. But notice in this one, for example, everything is working. Your arms, your legs, these circles. So it's like a great strengthener for the body overall, and then internal organs. Let's do that 2 more times. Rowing the boat. Last time. Maybe sink down in this one if you weren't doing it, because the next one is going to be a little easier. And then slowly bring yourself here again. Adjust the position, maybe slightly wider. This one is easy, kind of taking a break. The pace is also nice. Sometimes you kind of do a lot and like your heartbeat starts to change, and then you just move into something easier. So this one is throwing the ball. Just like feel your feet really turning. Now really we're connecting, see, from the toes, almost the ankle, all the way up. You're reaching up towards the sky and then turning in an easy way. The backhand, when it kind of goes back, it comes around like middle point of the buttocks. That's the idea. The backhand, I mean, it's going to be on this side when I move like this. So just like moving side to side, turning the heel, lifting the heel, turning the foot rather. Lifting the ball, holding a ball in front of the shoulders, lifting the sun, sometimes it's called. So if you would like some imagery ideas, You can go for that because we're going to be doing something for the moon. Slowly. Feel this sense of connection, really lower body, upper body. Again, good for the side body and legs. Everything is active. And the pace is up to you. You can do it very gently. And the way you are also reaching kind of backwards can be all the way almost like towards the back. But if for any reason, if you have any spine issues or vertebrae sensitive, osteoporosis, osteopenia, don't go there. Maybe don't do big twists, but instead do it more like a reach. But if you want to do a little bit of twist, you can do that too. And all these things, by the way, we're doing this, I don't know how many times, I'm not even counting. So it becomes like a big class, but they can be done just for 10 minutes. If you do everything just like 3 times, then you'll be done in 10 minutes. And then like all of the body will be almost like worked out, depending on, of course, the intensity that you are doing. Do that one more time. Each side, and then just take a moment in between. Feel free to drink water or something. I may actually like to take a sip from my tea. If you do everything maybe like 8 times, 9 times, 10 times, it can be like an hour-long class. But once you know the set, it's up to you, depending on your time. Sometimes you can just take like 10 minutes. Sometimes you can take an hour. So you can really adjust once you know the sequence. Once you are kind of convinced, like, oh, this can be kind of interesting thing to try for me. And you kind of put some effort to memorize it. So the next one, so from lifting the ball or carrying the sun, we are now moving into turning the face to the moon. So in this one, in the first, or the one before this, remember, we just moved one arm up, the other arm was on the side or a little bit back. In this one, arms move together. The action is almost like similar. We are lifting to one side, but then since hands are together, we are now bringing them, both hands together, and then moving to the other side. But this can be very tricky. You can imagine there's like a big ball between your hands, and the leg part is, I think, trickier than this one, because some teachers would like to make this like a big move for the legs. So I'll just show it to you, so it's up to you. So one side, when you are lifting the arms, you are reaching and inhaling here. When you exhale, you can give a big bend into your knees, and you can even imagine you're bringing the moon almost like down to the ground, and then lift up and notice what that makes to your breath. So that's optional. I'm not going to go there. But if you want to go deeper, your feet are more or less on the ground on this one. You can lift the heels, but you don't have to. And even some people would suggest actually like lifting both heels and then releasing. Maybe alternative to sinking down could be lifting both heels, because that immediately kicks in almost like this balance challenge. Or just taking it easy, gazing, or almost like holding the moon, and you adjust again how far to the side you want to go with this. Turning the face to the moon. You're already almost like carrying the moon between your hands, and then to the other side. Exhaling. Inhaling again. Coordinating things with the breath. Exhale and inhale. It can be very slow move as well. And notice how this feels. Today is becoming a longer practice, as you know. And some of you are used to having actually the end of the class being meditation, but which really reversed things today. So just doing that. And then the other side. And let's do one more. Probably it's kind of along the same lines that we did earlier. And now slowly bring the hands again, almost like in front of the belly. And this is similar to one of the others that we did earlier, this monkey adapted version or kind of simpler version, let's say. But in this one, the hand here is on the side. This one is a little bit higher and you're almost like pushing it down. And in the previous one, or one of the earlier ones, we pushed it to the front. So in this one, we're pressing it kind of downwards, just slightly different version. And that's also something good to build, they say, like internal strength, as if we are kind of saying no to certain things, maybe sometimes saying no to certain habits that we don't want to really keep going. Almost like have this sense of like, oh no, my dear, this is not gonna happen. And it's also helpful for digestion. It's supposed to help with the elimination as we're kind of pushing things a little bit downward, and also this sense of rotation for the intestines. And like on YouTube, there are a lot of videos. A lot of them are like 15 minutes or so range. Some go longer. And you may see there are variations in every move. I try to stay with kind of the version that is taught by the original teacher, but I know it includes some effects from my own teachers. So it may not be exactly like the way I'm guiding the ones that you may see. But the idea is they're kind of more or less the same, but the intensity does vary a lot. Sometimes you would see people doing really in a kind of hardcore way, like every move goes down if you want to. But it can be done in a very gentle way too. So you can really decide, depending on your energy, wherever or however you would like to kind of practice today. And now for today, I guess, let me see, we have about 10 minutes. I'm gonna teach one more. That's also one of the really classical ones. Any of you who have done some Tai Chi Qigong would know this. So let's just finish this. And then move to the other one. That's the cloud hands. And this is also called playing with the clouds, rolling Tai Chi, hands in cloud in horse stance. And the idea here, you imagine your upper hand as cloud or clouds. And then when this hand moves sideways, your eyes gaze towards your palm. And this back hand or the lower hand is at the back a little bit, but it goes slowly towards the side. And then on the side, hands shift position. And then now the upper hand becomes the cloud again as you are gazing. And this is one of the most famous movements in Qigong. And many people have many versions of this. Hands can be here. The way you are twisting can change depending on your energy level, like whatever you want to cultivate. If it is, for example, just being calm, and kind of developing your focus and attention, you may be just gazing towards the hand and then shifting. You're not going too much of a kind of a twist. So you decide. The weight shift with the legs can also be incorporated. I'm not doing it today. The other way also can be, for some people it works really nicely. They have hands on top of each other and then they move them in front of the belly. So you may see some people doing it that way too. Just check with yourself, whichever one feel kind of nice. I'll continue, I think, for the rest of the class with this one. Because this helps me to feel this connection between the hands even more. And some people also, let me tell you this, may feel dizzy. In the past, when I taught this, when I was kind of asking people to turn to the side and gazing to the hand, They thought it was kind of causing them to feel really dizzy. So this may also happen. So adjust yourself. You don't need to go all the way to the side, but just like stay in the middle. And don't even, like in this version, we're not looking at the hand, but just like paying attention to the sensations, this amazing kind of tingling thing that's happening between your palms. And do that one more time. And slowly, just bring the hands in front of the belly and just take a moment to feel again. Become aware of the sensations between your hands. So we are at number 10. And I would just like to, before we finish, maybe do just like 2 of everything we did. Let's just do that. We still have some time. So the beginning ones are easy ones. Those of you who were here probably last week will remember those easily. So let's just begin. Just a few arms lift and then reach down. Connecting with the qi, the energy, and then this sense of calm slowly coming in, almost like inviting a sense of peace and ease and kind of really like attentive mind maybe is kind of interested in like what is happening. Let me be with the breath and with the sensations. Let's do that one last time. Exhale. And now moving to the second one, opening the hands. These are connected in a way, and it's kind of very easy to remember, and things start to get a little bit trickier as we move along. And moving into the separating the cloud. Yeah, just hands come across in a spiral and then turn out. One last time. And then when you open, now just keeping your arms like that and turning them up towards the sky, adjusting the position if you need to for the rainbow dance. Again, the way you want to move, the way you want to go all the way down, or maybe just stay higher is up to you. And again, making sure that any arm variation that you are choosing is comfortable for your own shoulders. Side to side. Let's do one more time each side. And then coming to the center as you bring the hands in the middle, moving into the monkey variations. Taking one arm all the way maybe up back and then circling. And then to the front and then circling from the back. One last time, each side. And then to the boat, or rowing a boat. You can make a fist with your hands and slide yourself back. Big nice circle, inhale, exhale, slide. Let's do that one more time. Sliding the hips back. And when you straighten the legs, starting to do this, throwing the ball or lifting the ball. Your heel is lifting. Last time to each side once. And now just taking a moment before we transition to the other one. This now both hands are moving. I can kind of, if you need any help with this memorization, we started with like one hand and now we're going to move both hands, almost like the same move, but hands are together this time. And then you're carrying the moon this time all the way. Maybe reaching really backward if things feel all right, or just maybe sideways. You decide. Reaching up to one side and then the other. And then slowly just take a moment in between, just pushing the hands down to help the digestion to work, and also to bring this sense of knowing your own kind of limitations and maybe kind of learn or teaching yourself, let's say, how to set boundaries. Like, this is something I don't want to do, probably, or I shouldn't do, and I'm saying no to this. A lot of times it's very difficult to say no. And then slowly transitioning into this cloud hands. Hands move either like this, or maybe one hand is moving one side, and then the other hand is moving. Let's do that one last time. Exhale, hands shift. And then coming to the center. And bring your hands in front of the belly. Find your posture again. Just take a moment to feel the posture. Feel the effects of the movement. And notice yourself. Maybe your hands are really feeling tingly or warm. Whatever the sensations are there, it's all fine. But take a moment to again recognize us human beings situated in between the earth and the sky, this kind of biosphere with all its beings, all its nature, animals, plants, and us. Just notice all of us kind of living in this space together. And when you are ready, you can bring your hands on your belly. Let the web of the index and the thumb to kind of cross. Just make a couple of circles. Imagine now the palms, these palm points are on top of each other. You are letting this energy to flow in, reverse the circle, to this Dantian area, the main energy center. And then at the end, just hold your hands there. Imagine you're really soaking in that energy and accumulating it there, sealing it in, because that part of the body is sensitive to take that energy. And you like push it down. And at the end, as we come to the end of the practice, bring your feet together, open the arms if you like, and just taking a moment to just greet each other for the time we spent together. Thank you so much for your practice. Thanks for joining, and hope to see you again. And let me know if you have any questions, comments. I can take my chair back here. And let me